So I have made a lot of different types of papers here with markers and pens, and then I cut them up into 1/4. So I have the whole like rainbow. I also have some pieces of envelope, some magazine or newspaper where the writing is. This is really nice for like a gray or black and white texture. Happens to have a section with a green background. Saved it. So I can have all of these choices. Push those off to the side. Ready for me. I also found some magazine pieces with some neutral colors that I thought maybe would be nice to cut up as well. And then I have a piece that is kind of boring, and I'm gonna start with that piece. That's gonna be my base. So I'm gonna take this long horizontal piece of paper, and in this case it's a scrap, and I am going to fold it in half. Then I'm going to fold it one more time. What I'm going to do is I'm seeking to make a large oval. So now I'm going to make a curve from here to there. So I'm going to cut. That's it. Take away my scrap. I'm going to unfold it. Now I have large oval. From my large oval, I am going to fold in 2 sides of the oval to make a sort of shape here that looks kind of like an owl, and that's what we're making. We're making an owl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in, and then I'm going to glue it closed. Just wanted to make sure y'all can see. All right, so I'm going to get some glue stick, and I'm going to glue in. I'm not going to glue it super perfectly right now because I might want to sneak some pieces of paper under these flaps later. So for right now, I am just gluing it a little bit. And oh, here comes Beatrice. You're in the camera. Beatrice likes to help, but not right now. All right, so now I have what is the base of my owl. It is got 2 wings over here. It's got the top, it's got the bottom. So now I need to make the parts to my owl. So I need to select what I would like for my, maybe we'll start with the belly, start with the back part, the furthest away part as possible. I think it would be great to have maybe something of this texture in here. Now we can cut geometric shapes pretty quickly if we're smart about it. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take this edge here and I'm gonna cut diagonally. So actually I'll cut on this side so you can sort of see where my scissors are and not get distracted. I'm gonna cut diagonally. So I'm gonna cut maybe like an A shape. So we got 1, and then I can do it again. And when I'm cutting like this, I am cutting a bunch of triangles pretty quickly. Now if I cut along here, all those triangles fall off. So that's one way to cut triangles. You could also make a long skinny piece first, and then cut diagonally, turn it, cut diagonally, turn it, sort of like a zigzag as you go. And those are some ways to make some triangles. All right, so let's take a look at our triangles. Knock them off here. Let's lay them out. Are these gonna work? They're a little bit big or wide, I would say. So what I might wanna do is see if I can find some that are about the same. And while they're stacked on each other, I can cut them in half. It's so much faster than cutting each one by one. So I'm gonna cut, there's like a stack of them. I'm gonna cut right down the middle. And then I cut, that's so many at one time. So that saves me a lot of time. And that's like that already. This one's pretty wide. Let's see. couple of them are in good shape. Some of them are too big. So we'll just do one more cut. All right, and you know, I don't want them all to be the same. So maybe I don't want to have all of them be these colors. Maybe I want to add in some other colors too, but let's take a look. If I put some down here along the belly, I might want to start at the very bottom. If I start at the very bottom, then I can layer some on top. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some glue along this edge. Even though I have a little bit of this covering, I'm going to put glue. So I'm going to put some glue along the bottom, and then I'm going to take some triangles and I'm going to stick them on to where they put the glue. And I might not have them all the same. I might tilt them a little bit. Doesn't really matter because I'm going to cover up that top part. Doesn't matter, and I better work fast before the glue dries. And if the glue does dry, I just get in there, glue again, and I can add that. All right, so now I might want to have a layer of feathers that are of a different color or a different texture, and I can go back and forth. So I'm actually going to grab this yellow and green one, and I'm going to make some that are the same. I don't think I'm going to need as many, so I'm just going to take one strip to start. And I'm going to want to make some skinny ones. This time I'm going skinny from the start. So you can see. These ones are much skinnier than I had done before. All right, now I have those. I'm going to make another, I'm getting that out of the way. I'm going to make another row of them. Let's check and see how high that needs to be. All right, so like the width of the glue stick. So I'm going to make another row of glue. I'm going to make it go a little bit, you know, different than the orange ones. I want them to kind of be in between the orange ones. Not exactly the same. Oh, I want to get that one on top. And if they overlap, they overlap. If they don't, it's okay. There'll be more. My finger was more sticky than the paper. And that is one next layer. So now I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna get some of these orange ones in there. Some of these smaller pieces here. Same process. Get the glue in there. Get them in a little bit different spot than they have been. I don't want to cover up all the polka dots. All right, and then some more polka dots. Let's see. How many pieces do I have? Oh, I think I can go across one more time. All right. Okay. Uh-oh. This guy. Put that back. There we go. And this is adding, oh, I don't even need that many. Okay. I'm noticing that when I put my wings back down, it's not as, it's getting narrower there. It's not as wide, so I don't need as many. I'm gonna do it maybe one more time so I can get these orange pieces in. And I might start with a big one right in the middle. Might trim that. put another one right there. Sort of give that belly a look. Not bad. Oh, I could put a couple extra pieces on either side. Let's see how that goes. A little bit of polka dots there on next to that top one. When we change something and we alternate, we might want to say that's variety. And variety is one of our principles of design, which I don't talk about too often, but that helps us see, you know, our eyes are more interested in that. We don't want to get bored when we're looking at things. So now we have some feathers along the belly. Now I'm thinking, what do I want to do for my feathers out on the side? And I want to use different colors. Certainly don't want to use the same thing I used before. And I want to use a different shape than what I did before. So I'm thinking I'd use some sort of warmish colors down there. Maybe what I will do is I will use some cool colors towards the top. So I can put these back, maybe some of these, maybe some of these. So this time I'm thinking I would like to have some rounded feathers. Instead of triangles, I want them to be like a arch. So I'm actually going to, once again, I'm gonna make some strips. I'm going down halfway, and Beatrice is back, casting a shadow. Hello. She is interrupting and giving me kisses. Right. She loves paper scraps. So this is one of her favorite things, is to watch me make a collage. And that's what this is. We're choosing different scraps of paper. Now I'm making a rectangle. So I made a bunch of rectangles all at the same time because I took those strips, laid them on top of each other, lined them up, and then I cut all at once. And when I cut all at once, then I have this little pile of rectangles. Now I'm gonna go curving along that top edge. So to cut a curve, I'm gonna cut off the corners. Try to curve my way around. If you can't get it, it's okay, because it doesn't have to be perfect. So I have some feathers like that. These are nice and big. All right. So I'm gonna do that, all the rest of these. Maybe my purple feathers will be skinnier. We'll see. And curve around. Now these are very tiny scraps. I probably will not save those because they don't seem useful to me. Add that one. Okay. Yes, this is looking good. Nice selection. This is like a plaid, I think, this pattern. I might want to call that plaid. Something like a nice shirt would have that pattern on it. Pajama bottoms. Many of us are wearing pajamas all the time right now. So I recommend getting inspired by the things around you. And if that means pajama bottoms, then that means pajama bottoms. All right, so let's see. Let's first look. We might not save that purple. We'll get to it, I promise. Maybe what we need to do is get along the edge of our wing to kind of come up like that. I think that's the first thing I'm gonna do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some glue along this edge, one edge at a time. We don't want our glue to dry up. All right, so I might even stick it out a little bit. That's okay. Coming off the edge, it's okay if it overlaps. We want it to kind of curve up around there. It's not bad. One more, like that. And now I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Now remember, we had our shape It didn't look very cool. It was a magazine piece, but I'm covering it up so nobody knows what it was when I started. Doesn't matter what it looks like. So that first oval that we made, sort of a secret. Don't have to show it. Doing the same thing on the other side. I want mine to be symmetrical. You can make that choice. You can make it symmetrical or you can make it asymmetrical. Asymmetrical is when it's not the same. So mine is reflecting the same on the right as it is on the left. All right. Now I think we need to have some other feathers there. So now we need to make some new feathers. I'm going to make some with the purple this time. So we're going to put those away. I'm actually going to get the little scraps out of the way. All right. What you can't see right now is that Beatrice is watching off on the side, very curious about what I'm doing with all these little papers. All right. So I'm making my long strips, and I have to decide if I want them to be skinnier or not. So what I might do is take those and I might make them skinnier. So in case I want to use some of this, I'm going to make some of these strips. Still useful for another time. All right, so now for these feathers, I'm going to do very narrow. And they're still rectangles. I'm going to still make the edge curvy. And it doesn't have to be a perfect arch because they're feathers. And we know that feathers aren't perfect arches. So there's some of those. Put those scraps there. And these are going to go in the next row of feathers. And you could change it up every time. You could have a different color every time. Or you could decide to go back and forth, similar to how I went from the orange to the yellow, orange to the yellow. It's up to you. All right, last time I cut this in half, laid the two halves on each other, and so that they were narrower, I cut this narrower. And I'll save those strips for either another project or another part of this project. We'll see. All right. And I'm turning the paper, not my scissors. That's the safe way to do it. If I turn my scissors and I let my chicken wings come up, my scissors will poke myself back when I cut around, and we do not want to get hurt when we are cutting. All right, let's get the scraps out of the way. All right. Put that back in the middle. Now I'm going to go in the next row. So I'm going to get some glue. We're going to actually layer it a little bit over that blue. So it's okay if we put a little bit of glue on the blue. All right. Once again, I'm going to go a little bit out to the side so that that side looks interesting and has feathers as well. And there's going to be more. And there's more here because it's narrower. And let's see, did I put glue? I did. Let's put more. There's so many patterns. This is really awesome. All right, so now we have that. We need to fill in this section here. And I might just go right ahead and do blue again because I am into that repeating pattern. So let's get a nice one. Put some glue up here, just a little bit on the purple. We don't need to go up to here because we will put our eyes up there, and we don't need to go all the way up. So I like how this is creating a bunch of texture on the side. See what we'll do. I'm gonna do both sides at the same time. Right. Somehow I wound up with one less. That's okay. Oh no, I think it's the same. There we go. 3 on each side. All right, now maybe just a little bit of purple. Now you could also use scraps from cardboard. That would be a really cool texture if you took off the layer and you left the bumpy part of the texture of the corrugated cardboard. So it had that zigzag feel. And I think that's it. And we can even, you know, curl this up a little bit so that it sticks out nice. All right, so we're gonna put some eyes here. So before we put the eyes here, we might as well do something up there. And I love this, so I might even just see if it goes this way. Let's see. And I didn't want that bold font, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make one long piece. And I'm gonna cover up that bold font. That was a heading for those of you who were paying attention in ELA. All right, so maybe what I want to do is I'm going to cut a zigzag line there because that would be really fun for the top of our head. And I can do this so that I make the zigzags faster if I fold it in half and do 2 halves at once. Let me make sure these are. So I'm just cutting like cut, 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 cut. So it's a zigzag. Makes me think of an A. All right, so now I have that fun bumpy section. So you can decide what's the plan. So maybe what I'll do is I'll actually just glue this right on and then flip it over and cut off the extra on the side. So I know that I have those curves there, but I don't need them. I know where they are. So it's okay if I cover them up right now. Okay, so I want to make sure that I don't see any more of that white paper coming out there. I'm going to flip it over. It's going to create this sort of curve up. Like that. Okay, so I need some eyes. I don't want my eyes to be the same. I think I'm gonna go with, yep, I'm gonna go with a circular. I'm gonna do 2 green because I use green here. I'm gonna use big green circles. So I'm gonna actually fold this. Half of this would be perfect. So I'm gonna fold this in half. And I want it to be about that. So I'm gonna make it into a square. And I know that does not make a square, that makes a rectangle. I'm gonna come out here more, and I feel like that makes a square. So I'm gonna trim off that, and I have a mostly square. In order to make a big circle like this, I can cut the corners off. But that's making a stop sign, and that is not a circle. So I'm gonna keep cutting all of those. Notice how I'm turning my hand. Keep cutting until there is no more corners. Circles do not have corners. Circles are one line that comes all the way back. And if it doesn't look right, go back and trim it. But honestly, it doesn't matter. All right, I'm gonna have 2 nice eyes. Ooh, this is gonna be great. I think that I'm gonna go this way for my eyes and up a little bit. So I'm gonna get these and glue the back. All right, flip that over. Get the glue on this one. Now it's okay if there's a space there because I will put the beak there. And I think it needs another circle. So I'm gonna get, let's see. I'm gonna use this, not polka dots. I already used the polka dots. Let's use this circle or this pattern paper. We're not gonna go as big as we did before. We wanna leave some of that green. So we're still gonna fold it in half. We're gonna look and see how wide we want it to be. So I'm thinking about that. Okay, so we have some extra. Put that back. But we want it to be a square. So we will cut that there. So now I have almost a square, a little bit. And I'm gonna do the same method. I'm gonna cut off the corners until I have no corners. You can also draw your circle. If you were to draw on paper like this, draw on the back so you can see it. It's hard to see when you have the pattern. And the circles are the trickiest thing, but you know, many of you are getting good practice. And I'm very impressed. All right, whoa, looking awesome. Okay, so we're gonna glue that on. I'm actually going to put something there so I don't have to put them all the way towards the top. I love the way that it ties in the yellow at the bottom. So let's move this up a little bit. I'm gonna put some glue. And whoops, some glue. All right, and you know what? We're gonna get some red finally. And this is gonna be great because this makes me think of eyebrows and the hair when we draw an eyebrow. So we're gonna make a crazy wild shape that might go out that way. So kind of like an L or a curve like that, like a hook. So we're gonna see, I'm gonna go in half. Right. I'm not sure yet. What we're gonna do is we're gonna curve it around. I'm gonna have to draw this on. But I want it to come out, so maybe I want to go like this. And you don't have to do what I'm doing if you don't want to. I'm going to cut this shape out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it and make 2 of them. But you have to remember, this is the tricky part about things that are symmetrical. I can't make another one exactly the same because look, I want one to go out that way and then I need one to go out that way. So I'm actually going to flip it over. So as you see, I cut it out like this, but this is the way that I'm going to make the other side so that they're the opposite direction. Right? We want them to go in opposite directions. So let's see. Yeah. Put it like this. No. Is that going to work? I'm trying to think about how I want this pattern to match. I think like this. Best I can. All right. And I'm tracing around my other one, so I'm tracing my own work, which is not a problem. All right, let's check it out. Ooh, nice. So I can layer this right on top, and it kind of creates this cool, these cool feathers of my owl. I'm just gonna need a beak, I think. And if I lay it so that it doesn't quite glue down everywhere and it sort of sticks out, it's very 3D. There's a little, you know, little something there. This side, these are gonna look so cute. All right. And I need a beak. I think we're gonna need something in there. So I'm gonna decide what, maybe something dark. Is that gonna be too busy? All right, so let's go over the goals and criteria for this assignment really quickly. I know.
One, I want your drawing for your owl to be big enough to fill the whole page. I want you to draw really large.
Take a piece.
Make that owl big, make the background
Like
very
this
small.
size.
If you're a big kid, number two, if you're a big kid and you're in 3rd through 5th grade, you need to find a way to
should be
make
in
your
good shape.
owl unique
So I didn't
and
trace my
change
circle.
3
You
things
could trace
about
that
the owl. So
and
if you
draw it on.
drew
Beatrice
and
is
followed my
back.
guide,
Hey,
or if
Beatrice.
you looked at an example
But you don't
on one
need
of the
to.
resource pictures, or you found one online, you need to change at least 3 things to make it your own.
Trace it.
You cannot
and then
copy
cut it out.
directly.
I'm gonna go.
Number 3, this is for all of you. You need to add
a
unique
circle.
patterns. If you are a kindergarten or 1st grade, you want to add 6 or more patterns. If you are a 2nd and 3rd
think
grader,
it's a
you
little
want to
bit
add
bigger, I think.
8 more patterns. If you are a 4th and 5th grader, you need to add 10
Whoa.
or more patterns.
That's gonna get
You can create sections to add patterns. So if you want to break the wings into more sections than I did, you can add more patterns that way. You can add a very small, narrow section around the eyes again and add another set of patterns. There's ways to make it happen.
Other direction because
And
that way then
finally,
it looks
your
very
art should look
different
complete
from the green.
and be your best work.
you
It should
change the
be
direction of
tidy,
your pattern.
and you should consider your presentation.
Stand
Make it
out.
look ready to be displayed.
Nice. All right. So now I need a beak, and I am not sure. I think I kind of want it to be golden, but I don't have that. So maybe something like that. And I remember when I was drawing that it's sort of like this, but upside down. So I want to see how tall, this tall. And if I make it symmetrical, we've been doing this whole time, I'm gonna fold it in half. And that way then both sides of my paper become the same. Let's see, not bad. And I can even see if I can tuck this under. So I might pull back the green and get some glue on my beak and get it a little bit under those eyes. And the way that you layer is really what this is all about. You can kind of make it stick up a little bit, and it will give it a little more texture. Everything so far is texture. And I have everything but the feet, and you could definitely make those, add those on as well. I think if I made my feet, I might use another piece of wild paper. So if I make them, I want to make 2. So let's see. And let's see, if I cut this way, okay. Let's see. And if I cut them at the same time, then I will have the same. But how am I doing that? I'm going to take my triangle and make cuts like this. That's it. So I'm gonna go make like a cut like an A up
and up to meet it. Up and up to meet it, and that's it. And that will be my feet. Some of my kindergarten friends remember this from when we made our penguins. And then I can attach those feet right there. I can go on the back, or I can go on the front. It's really up to you what you choose to do. I'm gonna go on the front. They say that owls have really long legs. They're just hidden underneath all of their feathers. So if you have permission, you should look up a picture of owl legs, because they look really funny when they have their feathers pushed back and you see their long legs. And that is my, let's see if I can get a little white paper here. There's my owl, an owl collage. You can use any kind of papers. I recommend using paper that has already got a color or a pattern on it, and then cutting the shapes. Some of you have made the shapes and then gone back in with coloring. That's not technically how it works. If you want to come back in and put a few details, that's okay. But we want to make the patterns first and then cut the shapes. And you can use all kinds of materials at the same time. So if you use bumpy textures in there, that would be really great. If you used, I don't know, maybe you can even find pictures of feathers and print those out and cut those out, or if you happen to have a National Geographic and it has bird feathers or whatever, you could do that as well. And of course, I did this with the patterns just to show you how you could do it if you don't have construction paper. But if you have construction paper, then you're really ready to go right away. All right.